understand why you're watching
I
in
was
the first place right now.
I
I
was
just don't get it.
I was puzzled, to be honest with you. Like, I was surprised. I was watching it. I was doing a ton of merch, and usually, when I have something to do, I do it when I'm watching pay per view because I'm like, look, I'm gonna be here for 4 hours anyway. And then it just kind of ended, and I was like, what? Where's the rest of the show? So for me, that was it. I wasn't expecting it to just be 2.5 hours, but it was weird. It was very
Yeah.
weird.
Oh well, let's address that. I mean, that's the elephant in the room. That's the Andre the Giant in the room right now. Is
Mm.
This was a very short pay per view. It was wacky beyond belief. This was
Oh, it was like, I think it was like the ultimate comedy show. Like, I've never seen
it was.
I've never seen WWE lean so heavily into comedy before. Like, in a sense of, this is like, look, okay. So there is no real way to break down the show without getting into it. So let's just get into it. The
Yeah.
main event.
Nobody cares about anything that wasn't Money in the Bank, quite frankly.
Yeah, and you should actually, because the Seth Rollins match was really decent. It was fantastic wrestling match. But nobody cares about wrestling, right? They want
Nobody
the
cares about wrestling.
yeah. No,
But
to be
I will say my comment during that match was, this is a really pretty match, which
yeah.
may sound like a bizarre way to describe it, but honestly, it was beautiful.
Oh
And
no,
if Drew
from start to
McIntyre,
finish, from start to
oh
finish.
yeah,
Yeah, it was so good. Sorry, go.
100%. If that dude does not get to hold his championship in front of a live crowd at some point, I will feel so bad for him because he is putting on clinics and proving that he actually is a great wrestler, not
Yep.
just one dimensional, not just good at one thing. I mean, they did mat work, they did high flying moves, but again, nobody cares. Let's talk about the amazingness that was Money in the Bank.
Yeah, like money, not only Money in the Bank, but like okay, so we heard a few things that it was going to be Money in the Bank on top in Titan Towers. We knew that.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be pre-taped, and it was pre-taped beginning of the month, I think, if not last month. So we knew that. We didn't know they were going to happen at the same time until just before, which was weird. So I suppose with that,
weird, maybe the understatement of the day. That's the nicest way you could describe this match.
well, like, it should have made sense when the show ended. It should have made sense because it's like, they haven't got anyone else. They haven't got anything else there. So what else are they going to do? Moving Jeff Hardy and Sheamus to the pre-show was very strange. That was also
Bizarre, you mean?
Yeah, it made no sense. I was like,
yeah,
they've been building this for months and pre-show. Okay.
It was nice that he had his return, though. Speaking of Jeff, and again, Cesaro worked a great match. Didn't get to win, obviously, but proved once again he's incomparable in the ring.
Again, nobody cared. That was
nobody cares. Though.
Nobody cared.
I mean, why are we even talking? Nobody cares.
Nobody cared. Once this whole show is just marred by the fact that nobody cared. Everyone came to see the freaks.
Yes.
Everyone came to laugh at the freak show, and that's what happened.
And you know why I know this is true? Because anything that I watched, any reviews that I read about this, I skipped everything and just went right down to Money in the Bank. I'm like, I know those were decent matches. Whatever, let's get to it. I got to see what other people think about this.
Yeah.
I got to see what the other opinions are.
And I was like, again, this ended at 2:30 for me, Irish time. So it was kind of one of those things where I was like, right, this is the first time this ever happened. Usually we're only halfway through.
Yeah. This is probably the shortest pay-per-view we've seen in I don't even know how long. But I will say it led in without a beat straight into the first part of the Undertaker documentary. And I don't know if you caught any of it, but oh my gosh, guys, we have to cover that. Once it's done, we have to cover that in full or something because, that was tugging at my heartstrings. That was so well produced for just part one.
It was super good. And the way it was done, because I kind of I turned away for a moment because I was working on some merchandise. And while for the band, obviously, if you guys want to buy merch, go buy merch, and that would help us a lot. But anyway, yeah, like I turned away for a minute just to kind of pack it up, and then I was like, wait, Undertaker, what? And it's just because they had said at the end of the pay-per-view, and I went back and rewatched it, and there was like a brief signature at the end, but it wasn't like anything overt because there's no commentary saying. Because the thing about this match as well, zero commentary. So
thank God.
Oh yeah, like it made it so much better. But there was no one to be like, all right, that's it, bye. It was just kind of like nothing. Undertaker. It's like,
yeah. And
That's
Derek and
weird.
I always, yeah, we always talk about things wildly out of order. If you haven't caught on to that fact by this point, just get used to it. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
I
just
have to say, just jumping straight to the end of the match, Michael Cole, could you maybe, I don't know, have a cup of coffee before you announce the winners of the match and give us the big send off? What was that?
yeah.
I was having so much fun, and then it was like this grumpy old man, like tapped into Skype and was like, "Oh, the winners of the match." It's like, what?
Yeah,
Wait,
Mike.
come on.
One thing that's really funny about Mike Cole is he's like the head of announcing for WWE.
Yeah.
Now it's like that is not good. No, he is not like some people like Mike Cole. I don't know why you would. I never liked Mike Cole as an announcer. Ever.
I'm a
And
coal
he's
miner.
yeah, well, that's fair. But like, I think when I don't know if it's just him or if it's what's been fed to him. That he just like there was that leaked audio where he was getting absolutely railroaded by Vince on the headset. So that could be it, where he's just being berated constantly, and that's why it's so bad. But this he just seemed like he just didn't care. He's just like,
No,
yeah,
he
we're in a
literally
match.
and figuratively phoned it in.
Yeah, and it's like he could have just had anyone else there. You know what? They should have had Johnny Ace or something come out and announce it because he's already there.
He's
They could have
already
anyone come
there.
out and announce them. It was like I think that was like the biggest downfall of that match where they they could have wrapped it up a little bit better.
Yeah,
It was just
especially after such a ridiculous end.
well the ending. Well, okay, the ending of the women's match was kind of straightforward enough. That's been
Yeah,
like done and it was okay. So um. All right, we'll try to recap the match from the beginning before we get to it. So, the match started
great.
off in the lobby for the women and started off in the gym, the corporate gym, which doesn't shock me that that's there in WWE headquarters. Uh, and then it kicked off once they all kind of came in. Uh, we had we had a race to the lift or elevator from the women, with Asuka pretty much jumping off the top and then going straight to the elevator, which was really smart. Although to be fair,
Very smart.
it took her like 30 minutes to get up there, so I'm like, that is either the largest building in the world or she can't use an elevator. It's like, what is
Maybe she
going
was
on?
just like one of those kids who pressed every floor on the way up.
That's what
That's how I'm suspending my disbelief.
that's what I was going with too. I'm like, she has to have just hit every button and she's just waiting for it because she was so excited. Um, And then we had the lads in the gym, and they were just kind of doing some cool spots. Baron Corbin had the most overreaction to ending ever, where he picked up the weight and threw it at was it at Ray? Threw it at Ray and
Yeah,
missed,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then broke the mirror. It looked like he died. It looked like he killed someone. And the music was weird because it's like da da da, and it's like, oh, what? Okay.
Well, because if you break a mirror, it's 7 years of bad luck.
Oh, fair. That's a fair
So
point. I just thought he was like,
yeah.
oh, he's gonna take it out of my paycheck. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's.
Um, um,
Oh my gosh.
and then after that we had a few more cool spots, and we started going up the building. Right now, I thought they were going to do a bit more as far as kind of working around, but they only kind of went to three or four different places. So the first one to show up was Brother Love in the bathroom, which was weird. Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah. Oh,
He
come
looked.
on. They went to like a dozen places. Let's
They
not sell them short here.
They did, but it was just kind of like an office. It wasn't like what I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be like The Simpsons, where Bart shows up and he's just like, hey, goes to Mad Magazine, and he's just like, oh, yeah, I probably think there's lots of crazy things going on here, but it's just a business. And then the door opens, and it's
I'm sorry, Derek. Is that a cheap plug to another show on our podcast network? Because I think that
no.
was.
I
I
just
think
like.
it was a cheap plug to go watch the Simpsons reviews that are being done.
Well, you can do that too, but I just like The Simpsons. But that's what it was kind of like. That's what I was expecting it to be like. So yeah, they went to a few places, but a lot of like random corridors. It was a very corridory layout, Uh, I didn't. The Bruce Pritchard thing wasn't great. I did enjoy
But
the.
you didn't like the random janitor with the Bruce Pritchard hat.
No,
What is that? What even was that? That's what. Okay, that's what people have to understand about this match. Is yes, if you want Bruno Sammartino, this wasn't your match. And I feel like
no,
people coming into this had a
no.
preconceived notion. If you thought it was going to be bad, you thought this was the worst match WWE has ever done. If you were excited and understood that this was going to be silly and ridiculous, this is everything you wanted it to be.
I do think that people are going to hate this match. I think there's going to be a big a big divide here between
Oh,
I
yeah.
like it or I don't like it. And look, I totally understand if you don't like it. It wasn't as good as the WrestleMania ones by a long shot.
Oh, I disagree.
No,
No.
no, I didn't. What I tell you what bummed me out more actually, and we'll get to it. The Bray Wyatt stuff was not good, but we'll get to that.
What?
Yeah, I'll explain why.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah, I'm
This is us jumping out of order. Oh my gosh, the puppets so he could hit a DDT. I was crying.
I know, but I'll explain why in a bit. I'll
All
explain
right.
why in a bit. But yeah,
Let's just talk about what people care about first.
so we jump back and they're going up through, and then I did love the AJ Styles spot where he goes into the Undertaker's casket room,
Yes.
which is probably I wouldn't be surprised if that's an actual room that they just have there. Uh,
I love the. It's very HBO True Bloodish. I love the concept that the Undertaker has a room in Titan Towers where he just sleeps in a casket all year long, and they bring him out for Mania.
well, that's probably true. That's probably what they do. But we're like, there you go. Yeah, you just sit there. The suspension of disbelief is very easy to do, but it's also something you're like, well, this could happen. This is probably true. Like Vince McMahon, all that Vince McMahon stuff, that's probably just how Vince is. I love the bit where he got the hand sanitizer afterwards, and he
Yes.
just goes as it writes on his legal pad. I'm like, that's pretty good. But yeah, so basically,
I want to believe that Vince does not use computers, period.
yeah, I was looking at it. I'm like, there's zero computers there. It's like that's weird, but okay.
He had a
Uh,
monitor in front of him. I don't know if I even saw the keyboard. I just like the concept that he writes everything by notes. He's been doing it since the 80s, and that's just how he
he
writes
didn't have a
wrestling.
monitor. I watched the match
Oh,
again.
no?
No, he
I
literally
watched it, yeah.
he had an empty desk, and then he turned around, and that was his legal pad. I'm like, that's weird. Like this,
Right. I
that
thought
was
on that desk there was, but yeah, okay,
no, there
fair enough.
wasn't. I went back. I went and looked at it again. That unnerved me greatly. I was just like, this man is crazy. It looked in phenomenal shape, but he looks like he's aged horrifically.
Oh, well, and again, this goes into the Undertaker documentary. You really see that when you see these guys not in full makeup and doing their thing. But oh my gosh, can we talk about that amazing moment with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan just pointing at each other like, oh no, that was him. No, that he did it, not me. And they like politely put the chairs back. They go out in the hallway. Mind you, there is a match going on in which you're supposed to run to the top of this building and grab a briefcase, and they just have an impromptu conversation of, you're kind of a coward in it. Well, you told me to do that. All right, then. Well, I guess I did. Like, what?
No, my favorite part, I love the bowing when they just decided to bow to it when Daniel Bryan bowed to Vince McMahon before he came out. I was just like, that is so good. That is just hilarious. So much in this match. I could see it could have been terrible, and he kind of
Yeah.
did what they could do. But going in open mind is the best way to do it. Um,
Would
so
it be fair to say that this match is one where you could look at it and enjoy it at the time? And I even rewatched it this morning
mm,
and just enjoy it for what it is and take it at face value, full suspension of disbelief. Wow, that was comical. I enjoyed it. But you can also Rise of Skywalker it and go, in the theaters, I thought that was kind of cool. But once I start picking it apart, this made no sense. It was plot hole filled. It was not, there were just things that happened that were never explained. How did AJ get out of the barbell? We don't know. How did AJ get out of Taker's room? We don't know. What happened to Shayna Baszler? We don't know.
well, at the end of this, they all went off top of the building and they're not dead. So
Well, to be fair, now my Newtonian physics aren't what they used to be, but the sound of the crash didn't to me sound like a full fall down the building. I don't know. Maybe they just went down a level into a pool or something. That's actually what it sounded
well,
like.
that's what it sounded like. But like, what I would say on that is, if you hate on it, right? If you hate on it, WWE are never going to take these risks again.
Yeah.
So I would say it. You can't hate on it because it is so different, and it's so completely different now compared on that's all that they're able to do. Really, it's either have empty arena matches, which everybody hates, or have these random weird segments that are crazy and trying everything they can to get over. And I would say that's more worthy than just bitching about it. Like, yeah, look, in my personal opinion, I enjoyed the WrestleMania ones more. I thought they were better laid out. This was way more messy. On the men's side, the women's side was actually hilarious. That was actually kind of laid out a lot better. Um, you
I would
particularly
have loved if Asuka just rode the lift all the way to the top of the building, grabbed the briefcase, and that match was over in a minute. That would have been the greatest
that would have been funny. That
they
would have been
possibly
fun.
could have done.
Well, no. What would have been funny is if I was booking it, I would have had that the last rung basically being the food fight, her arriving after the food fight, picking up a bit of sandwich, and then going up and getting the briefcase. That's what I would have done. I thought that would have been hilarious
Chewing on the way there.
on the
Oh
way
my god.
in, exactly. But it achieved a lot. We got a lot of cameos. I enjoyed the Stephanie McMahon one. I thought that was hilarious. Weird to have a Money in the Bank conference room. I thought that kind of fell flat, but I liked what they did with it. I
Well,
was
you know what struck me odd about that? WWE can't pay their talents, but they can afford to have random conference rooms with,
a briefcase
I
full of
don't know,
money.
100 grand just chilling up in the air.
Yep, makes no
What?
sense. Yep, it's weird.
But and also, how many conference rooms does Titan Towers have?
Well, we
They
know.
went in like 4 during this match. That's insanity.
Well, we know that there's one gigantic one in the performance center for some reason, which just seems completely unnecessary. So I suppose they just like their conference rooms. Vince doesn't use a computer, but he will buy many, many, many conference rooms for some reason. Uh,
Well, the
I-
WWE certainly has never cheaped out when it comes to buying chairs. So why am I shocked?
no, they love
Why
chairs.
am I
It's
shocked?
the one thing they'll go for. What I did enjoy, Doink showed up, which was weird. I was like, okay,
Whoever that doink was,
did not look like any other Doink. It was like,
no, it
it was
didn't.
like,
Poor Matt Bourne was. Ugh.
yeah, they could have paid for Matt Bourne or well, to be fair, like if you're gonna wheel out someone with a gimmick like that, you're like, well, Doink's actually a pretty safe one to do because it's Doink, you know. It's not like
Well, he's been played by like 5 different people. So.
yeah, sure. Even Chris Jericho was Doink at one point, just randomly. So it makes sense. But
If you
John,
know who that doink was, by the way, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know who played that little cameo part.
yeah, like it was probably the worst Doink of all time, but still, it was still
Easily.
fun to have, you know. So let us know if you know who it is. I enjoyed the Johnny Ace segment, just rolling along.
I
Paul
love that
Heyman
he was still in the scooter for some reason.
for some reason.
Oh,
Paul
people power.
Paul Heyman shows up, which was funny. Um,
Yeah. So okay, I need to talk about that because that struck me as typical Vince booking. A lot of this wasn't. A lot of this was clearly freeform and they played around. But this is your quintessential Vince booking. What do we do here? Well, Paul Heyman's fat, so he's just going to be sitting down at the table and eat the whole buffet himself. Like, come on.
yeah,
Did it set up to something great? Are we maybe going to get Otis versus Lesnar because of that? Maybe. But still, I was like, come on, man. Like,
it
okay,
was
I get it. Heyman's fat, whatever.
it was very ham-fisted, but the way I saw it is like,
Oh, I see what you did there. Nice pun.
oh yeah, the way I saw it
Yeah.
is they had to kind of have this food fight thing set up. It was weird. There was two catering areas where there was like a random catering area with Paul Heyman that just seemed to be just for Paul Heyman, and then the kitchen which had less food in it for some reason. It's like, what? Okay,
Well, I'm sure the kitchen is actually closed for
for health and safety
COVID.
reasons. Oh yeah, for sure. But it was just weird, you know. It was one of those segments where I'm like, okay, I see what they did, but it was definitely the weakest segment of the whole thing. It was fun to see not Nyla Rose, Baszler choke out Rey Mysterio and just kill him.
They weren't even in the same match.
They weren't even in the same match. It's like she's just gonna choke him out. It's like okay,
Great heel move though. Keep her strong as possible, and I think they did that. I think that's why she wasn't in the finish, quite frankly.
and just kill Rey Mysterio. Okay,
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor
I think he's on leave from the company after this, so that's how they got rid of him. Why they threw Aleister Black out and why he tweeted out a picture of a ghost soon after, I don't know. It's wrestling, folks. If you haven't seen that tweet, it's hysterical.
Aleister Black was like, I think he had a good time. I think everyone there had a bit decent time in the match, but I don't know. It seemed like it was more controlled than the WrestleMania ones. You know, in a bad way. Like it felt like they weren't just given the blank check and then go and do it. And we heard from the taping of this thing that it was the case of the show being or the taping being like 18 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or even more.
I can see that though.
Well, apparently it started from 12 midnight until like no, sorry, sunrise until midnight. So it was a full day. And it was shot like a movie where they have to redo stuff over and over again. And I felt that way, when I was watching the Undertaker match or even the Bray Wyatt match, you couldn't have that again without those. But this kind of just felt weird. I wouldn't want to see something like this happen again for the Money in the Bank briefcase. I thought it was a bit too much it was a bit too much without being too much. I felt like the other ones really went for it. Like they really, really, really went for it. This felt like it was more controlled, but also not. Like it was very McMahon centric. Like Vince McMahon showing up in his
Yeah.
office. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Stephanie showing up doesn't really make sense, and she wasn't even there.
Clearly wasn't there, by the
She
way.
was,
Should I
yeah,
mention that?
yeah, she wasn't there. She was like in the background going, "Hey, I'm here." Basically it's like saying that Dave was in the ladder match last night based on his background.
Yeah, well, I was actually.
She was.
I was inside Otis's stomach. I don't know if you could tell, but
There you go. And that's how he got the picture.
yeah.
But like it was. I feel like if they had have just went for it a bit more, and look, to be fair, they couldn't really because they couldn't fly people in. It was too restrained, and it walled themselves in too much. Because with these kind of stuff, you need to go big or you don't go at all, and they didn't go big enough. They went too hard into safety, and it was just like. But the feel of it was nice. It was hilarious. Like it was really really funny. So it's like maybe they do this again next year where they have a bit more talent and they can fly in some. Again, Dave, we said this with the other matches. This is a way for old talent to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
You could pretty much have anyone in a Money in the Bank ladder match now, and it would be fine.
You could.
You could also have them as cameos. So maybe do this as a yearly thing and see what happens. But
Well,
the pay-per-view is weird.
I don't know. See, I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. But at the same time, I think in the lockdown era, or the whatever we're going to call this, the no crowd era, I don't know if we've officially coined what it is yet, but this was the best that they could do. Did you really want to see them do this in the Performance Center?
Yeah, no one would want that. That's true. Like
No.
nobody would want that. Like if actually, here's a weird thing. Both Money in the Bank ladder matches are timed separately on Wikipedia. Weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
So to be fair, Wikipedia told me that John Cena died under a stairwell in like 2004. So
all right, fair enough. But what they did say, I think it's because the women's match was like 5 minutes less than the men's match.
I thought this started like 10 seconds later. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah,
the bell rang.
Yeah, the bell rang a little bit later, so maybe that's how they did it. But anyway, yeah, like look, if this had been in the Performance Center, people would be saying, "Oh God, it was boring and terrible." And what I will say is, I was watching the show with my parents, and I'm like, because that's how early it was on. They were watching it with me, and we're like, feels really weird without a crowd. Like even they said this, and obviously we know this, but they're still like the crowd. It's really missing something. And it really, for a lot of people, that's what they're picking up on. They're saying that wrestling isn't the same without a crowd. And yeah, I agree. Like, there were certain things that were done throughout the show that would have been better without a crowd. However, this match, if that had been Performance Center, it would have had no buzz to it. It would have been like watching the WrestleMania match again, the WrestleMania ladder match again, but with more people, twice.
It would, and the risk to reward injury. I mean, how many? No, it's not. People always have to take time off after Money in the Bank for getting injured, and this is a safe way for them to do it and still get the talent over. And not only get the talent over, one of the huge benefits I personally found of no commentary and awesome soundtrack, which I'm sure you were into. I love the soundtrack effect to make it cinematic.
Yeah.
But the characters of these wrestlers finally came out. Had Otis won, and this was a standard Money in the Bank ladder match, and he hadn't had such a charismatic run and a story with Styles even throughout the entire match that led to that ending, I don't think people would be as happy with him winning as they were now. They'd be like, oh, it's going to be a joke. It's going to be a throwaway win, whatever. Instead, him running around and doing, sets and reps, and just saying, oh yeah, and embodying the Macho Man and eating and all this nonsense. I felt so happy for the character that is Otis. I mean, in the course of 60 days, he's had a showing at WrestleMania. He's won Mandy Rose's heart. He has money in the bank. That was a shout out, I think, to Rocky at the end when he says, "I did it, Mandy. I won it for you." Like, oh, I
What I will say,
felt like a child again watching this match. I truly did.
well, one of the thing about these like storyline matches or cinematic matches, we get to see them. We get to see the characters really come out. Like character,
Yeah.
it's much more character driven than your standard wrestling match, which is like X, Y, and Z, spot, 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 and that's it. But at least with this, you can. I think it's because you can actually hear them talk to each other, and you actually have to work a little bit harder the entire time. Um, with AJ Styles, you know, it tied into his match with Undertaker where you had like PTSD.
Yeah, you had an actual flashback.
Actual flashback.
That was surreal.
And he goes, "Oh no, I'm not going." He's like, "No, I'm not going in there." It's just like,
I don't know how he got out of that room, but the fact that that room existed, and the fact that they apparently pay to have dry ice running 24/7.
Well, again,
not cheap.
Well, again,
not cheap.
Again, they can't afford to pay their talent, but they can afford to have dry ice running all the time. They must have the smoke alarm turn off there as well, because I'd imagine that thing would set that off very quickly.
I think so.
Shout out to Munster Mutt 93. Wikipedia once told me that Michelle Obama knows Tupac knows that Tupac is alive and well, and where his secret hiding place is.
On my old show, I used to refer to Wikipedia as the Bible because clearly everything there is
legit.
It's completely legit.
Well, now Michelle Obama, we need to know where Tupac is. She has the answers.
You better not be selected as VP unless you give up that info, Michelle.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
All I'm saying.
And that's a shout to another show on this podcast, on this network. There's going to be a conspiracy show soon, so we're going to be diving into that, I think.
Oh, please book me. Please book me.
Oh, well, actually, once again, trying in there, just agreeing with Dave's point earlier that Wikipedia isn't always gospel. Winky face.
Oh my gosh, it's not. No, it is gospel. It 100% is. I mean, it's just as accurate. It was written 100 years after the fact. Why not? But please throw me into the conspiracy show from time to time. I don't know who's running it, but I've got thoughts.
That can be set up. But we don't know when that's going to drop yet. But look, for anyone who's checking this out, we're adding tons of shows on this network. So yeah, it's changing by the day. So keep it locked, and we'll let you know when there's a full schedule. At the moment,
absolutely,
we don't know.
This is a very exciting time. I know we've been doing our show for a little over a month now with the two of us in particular, and we seem to be adding shows all the time. So this is really a great time to jump in and follow us and subscribe to the different shows and kind of get to know the personalities behind them. Find out, I think we're going to have kind of a niche for everyone.
I think so. Yeah, there's there seems to be a bunch of every single show that's brought into it. Oh, there we go. Every single show.
Derek, but
there we go.
Trust me, the rest of our shows will still be up.
Yeah, every single show that's kind of brought in has its own unique feel and vibe to it. Plus, on some months, there's going to be one show every week. So some shows are bi-weekly, some are weekly like ours. But yeah, check it out. There's the YouTube channel is probably the best way, or Facebook, or even our website, which has been updated as well. So, but yeah, conspiracy shows.
And if you're listening on the radio, please find us on Facebook under Nerd to Know Media, and you can get the links to all these other shows that we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. The show just this isn't the only show we do if you're checking it out for the first time. So, okay. So, jumping back to Asuka, it looks now Asuka is set up to have her return match with Becky Lynch. Probably that's where this is going. Mutsum apologizes for derailing a wrestling discussion with Wikipedia Tales. It's okay. We didn't know about it, so thank you.
I'm back. I don't know what happened, but I have returned.
It's Michelle
Obama. Got my internet connection.
It's Michelle Obama. She knows we're close to revealing her secret Tupac location.
Well, it is. We mentioned the C word, which you're not allowed to do on YouTube nowadays. And
fair.
Maybe we should not let.
Yeah, we'll take this down. This down. Okay. Well, look, Asuka looks like she's going to set up now with her return match with Becky Lynch. So that looks like where that's going. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. To the actual card itself, it started off with the big four-way match. So the New Day, the Forgotten Sons, Morrison, John Morrison and The Miz, and Lucha House Party. Not a great match by any stretch of imagination. It was a fun 12-minute match that kind of, you knew the New Day were going to win, and it looks like the Forgotten Sons are there to kind of pick up the slack from the Usos, who are missing in action for a while.
They're missing in action. You got rid of Luke and Gallows. I said it to my friends at the time because they were like, "Who are these people? We didn't even know half the wrestlers in the match." And I said, "Well, hey, if you're going to fire half your roster and let the other half walk, this is what you get."
Yep, and this is exactly what happens. So this is what we can expect. Random call-ups. And don't get me wrong, the Forgotten Sons aren't bad. I actually like them quite a lot, but they've done nothing to warrant being on the main roster. Never mind being competing for the title. So they're going to job something fierce. And Lucha House Party are just jobbers to the stars. So yeah,
which
enjoy.
is a shame because
They're great.
individually, they're some of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in terms of indie work.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just something doesn't connect, I guess. I don't know.
Well, they're not given any time to grow. Like a match that should have had the cinematic treatment is this one because it's all character based. You get over the Forgotten Sons and Lucha House Party because, like, think about it. Like, imagine the Miz running around Titan Towers. It'd be hilarious. Or the New Day.
It would.
But anyway, and then we had Bobby Lashley versus R-Truth, and after a really weird segment where MVP comes out, and it was weird. It was a comedy segment that didn't land because there was no crowd. And I was just like, this is pretty bad.
But at the same time, can we talk about R-Truth trying to get the crowd involved and shouting "What's up" and doing his rap?
He didn't care.
And now you sound amazing, crowd.
The crowd was in his head, and that's the main thing. That's R-Truth's
That's the main thing.
And
you'll catch this more than I did. I had to read about this to get the connection, but this is a shout back to TNA apparently with MVP and Bob Lashley because they had a stable together.
They did. They had a, I can't remember the name of it. It was like R-Truth was a legit
something about power or something.
Yeah, something I can't remember the name of it now offhand. But they did have a stable. And R-Truth was like a major player in TNA initially, and then he came over, and it's just a total joke. But Bobby Lashley, in TNA, Mr. Golf, where he talks about golf incessantly. I'm still waiting for that to be his gimmick, the return of Kerman White. Imagine Bobby Lashley.
that went so well for Chavo.
Well, with Bobby Lashley, what else can he do? His current gimmick is a joke. It was a squash match, 1 minute 40, and just absolutely killed the man. Nobody cared, so it is what it is. MVP.
Well, to be fair, if nobody there to care.
Yeah, but on the internet, nobody cared. Like, even still, I'm watching the show. Like, I didn't hear anyone go, "Oh, I love that MVP match," or the MVP match, or Truth match.
Not the match, but if we're going to be fair, Derek, I did see a lot of people say, or at least the people I was tele-watching with, or whatever you want to call it, they loved the entrance, they loved R-Truth's entrance, and then they loved R-Truth's interview later. So really, it's like the match was a blip.
Yeah.
But R-Truth segments were fantastic, especially when he talked about his win over MVP.
I love when he called out Tom Brady. He's going to take my title back from Tom Brady. It's like,
yeah. And I got to say, Charlie, I think you're fantastic. But you don't have to tell us it's Rob Gronkowski that ruins the joke. Johnny Carson 101.
Yeah. If you have to explain the joke, it's not funny. And it was funny until it was ruined. Another thing that really bugs me, and this happened a bunch of times throughout the night, when the commentators say, "Oh, we have a new champion." Please stop saying that, WWE announcers, because you're never having a new champion. As soon as that's saying, they're kicking out, and it's just ridiculous. Bailey had a
and I'm gonna super break kayfabe right here. Braun Strowman, don't open your eyes so much when you're being pinned. I know that's I'm giving away a lot right here, and I hope I don't ruin wrestling for anybody that's like on the fence with me, but. If usually during a pin, if a wrestler's eyes are open, that's how the referee knows they're going to kick out. Yep. But Braun Strowman keeps his eyes wider than I have them right now. Like usually wrestlers do like a little slit, so you can't really tell on TV. And I was like, oh, come on, you're in the performance center. It's odd. They come on.
Yeah, exactly. Munster chimes in with, "Stop trying to make new champion happen. It isn't going to happen." Fantastic Mean Girls reference. I love that. And it's to be a shirt. It's to be a shirt. Yeah, we had Bailey then defeat Tamina for the SmackDown.
Oh, Bailey's new theme, yes.
I love everything about
Love it.
I love heel Bailey. She's so cool. She's fantastic. Although Tamina, I never saw anything about Tamina. I think they're building up towards this Sasha Banks Bailey feud now. So yeah, I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
but I'm surprised that Tamina didn't get a little bit of a maybe you should stay back for a while after that Vice episode aired about your dad. You know what I mean?
Well, and she was positioned as the baby face as well, which is even weirder. So it's like, okay, but
I
yeah,
think we're lucky. I think Tamina's lucky that this is a no crowd era. Because can you imagine that match had that episode just aired and then I can't. I don't even want to think about what the chance would be.
and the signs if they didn't get
Oh yeah,
confiscated.
yeah.
Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. And it was Bray Wyatt. It wasn't the Fiend.
Loved it.
Which when Bray Wyatt came out, I was like, this is weird. He's not the Fiend. It's Bray Wyatt, and it's like Bray Wyatt doesn't wrestle. You know, it was kind of hard to. It was hard. It was hard to really kind of like get into it. And then when the puppets showed up and they start calling for spots, you're like,
Yeah.
no.
I think this is the fact we ever actually. I think in all of our episodes, this is the first time we actually have a strong disagreement about a match.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with it. I'm more just kind of saying it was just a weird kind of take on it. I don't know what I think I was expecting the Fiend to show up at the end and kind of do something, but where they were going with this was Bray Wyatt is trying to win back Braun Strowman into the fold without using the Fiend. So what's going to happen next is the Fiend's going to have to be more aggressive to get him. It's kind of like when
Character progression.
it's kind of like
Character progression.
well, it's kind of like when Finn Balor does the whole Demon King thing, where he's Finn Balor most of the time, but then he comes out as the Demon King, and that helps him win the match.
Okay, I have a thought, and this is what I was thinking at the time. Because obviously, the Bray Wyatt character that we saw last night is very jokey. Did things that you could not do if there was an audience there. You can't have puppets if we have an audience. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the Bray Wyatt we saw is clearly a joke character. It's your weird psychedelic Blues Clues character. And he comes out and he's all happy. And in any other circumstance, and Brodus Clay is who comes to mind, when he was being the Funkasaurus and all that nonsense. But he only had the Funkasaurus and the dancing and the silliness. If Bray only had this Bray Wyatt, I think that would be an issue. But because he has the Fiend to fall back on and his character becomes three-dimensional, I think it's okay to do the Firefly kind of straight character, and then something gets me mad, I'm going to twist and go psychotic on you.
I think it's the first time we've ever seen this character in the ring.
I believe so.
Which I think that's why. Well, I think that's what the big change is, because my understanding of the character was Bray Wyatt is Bray Wyatt, but when violence is needed, that's when the Fiend comes out.
Well, and I think the storyline was that he didn't want to fight Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I think. And he was trying to win him
So
back.
that's why he appeared as Wyatt himself.
Yeah, and he tries to win him back using just his normal cult tactics. Yeah, exactly. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's exactly what they're kind of going for.
Yeah.
Like so when Bray Wyatt comes out, he is just Bray Wyatt. But when violence is needed and that, he falls back into the Fiend, and the Fiend is the one who gets the job done. And so that's kind of what they're building to now with this whole character stuff. But it was interesting to see that throughout this whole feud, Wyatt was using his normal tactics, where he brings out the sheep mask to kind of bring him back and mess with his head. And that's how Braun Strowman actually won. He put on the sheep mask and tricked Bray Wyatt into thinking that he was going to join him, and then ended up getting the pin. So it's probably going to happen on SmackDown this week, is we're going to see The Fiend really start messing with things and coming back to try and win the belt, either at Backlash, which I'm so happy is back, either at Backlash or going into SummerSlam, which is probably where this is going to end.
And here's hoping that we have a live audience by SummerSlam.
Well,
I'm enjoying this, but I'm hoping we get something.
What I would say is, going forward, I would like to have an empty show pay-per-view every year. One, because I think it's a cool idea.
Okay.
I think it's a cool idea where they have like their cinematic shows or whatever, I wouldn't hold my breath for SummerSlam. I know Trump wants to open stuff up, but I don't see it. England just opened up today,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, and we'll see how that goes in 2 weeks.
Well, that's the fear, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to talk virus crap because I
no, we're
can't
not
get
gonna.
away from it. You're here to get away from it,
Yeah,
just like I am.
exactly, exactly. Like, we don't want to talk about it too much, but it is something that needs to be addressed. This is going to go on for as long as it's going to go on, and I wouldn't hold my breath that SummerSlam. Although it might, it depends. There was some news there the other day that,
Because this is late August we're talking.
yeah, well, the current situation in Florida, and it probably will happen in Florida. So the current situation there is they're open, but they're at 30% capacity. So what if you're in the performance center holds 2,000 people? I think it might be less. To say it's 2,000 people, it's probably not. Correct me in the
I think it's like 250, but okay, 2,000.
well, let's say it's 2,000. Then it'd be 200 people.
Okay.
If it's 200, which I think you're right, it's gonna be 30. So 30 people is better than nobody, but it's not going to be arenas just yet. So you might get
if
SummerSlam
you
with 30
were
people.
if you were a wrestler and you were how do I phrase this for radio? If you were under the influence and tripping during one of these matches and you just kind of opened your eyes, did you feel like you're back in your indie days? You're like, oh,
See,
there's no crowd here.
that's what it probably feels like. That's what I imagine it's like for Drew McIntyre. He's like, I just got out of TNA where this happened, and now I'm back working in front of nobody. What's going on? And that's kind of what it is. Yeah, maybe it would work if there's particularly excited 30 people, but they might do. But here's the thing: in AEW, I think they are in a bigger venue, and that does hold 2,000 people, so they'll be able to have 200 people there. But even still, like, all it takes is for one mass outbreak to happen, and then we're back to nobody. So, is social distance wrestling going to be as exciting as nobody? Because
I think it's really
if you're
yeah.
cheering and shouting, obviously you're going to be projecting out droplets, and it's like I don't know. It seems a bit risky to me.
I think wrestling will follow whatever happens with the other major sports as of right now. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is U.S. based, but Major League Baseball is looking to come back by July 1st. They're talking about maybe doing every 6 seats and keeping people apart, that kind of thing. Like we were talking about the NFL, which is the fall, really. They're as far as they're concerned, they're going on with their regular schedule, so we'll see what goes on with that. So this could be interesting.
Cage match, but the audience are the only ones in the cage. That's not a bad idea. Like a plexiglass, maybe a plexiglass in front of the audience. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like Roman Reigns was interviewed by TMC, I think, and he came out and he was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this for my kids." And it's just like, all right, fair enough.
And to be fair, he was featured quite heavily
he was
last night.
on a big placard in.
Yeah, so maybe
yeah,
he's not quite as blacklisted as thought. Plus, he was a huge part of the Undertaker's documentary.
yeah. So it's like, look, I think there's a lot going on here that we're still not aware. The whole situation is still really fluid. So, but right now it
Very
looks like
fluid.
we might get a crowd back within 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
Maybe like a small crowd and see
Yeah,
how it goes.
30 people, see how it goes, and then. But I would say the smart money isn't on if there's going to be a crowd for SummerSlam. Smart money is where it's going to be, and it's
Where
probably
it's
going to
going to
be.
be.
It's probably going to be in the Performance Center again. But yeah, look,
So
that's just the way it
where
is.
was it booked to be? Not the Staples Center. They were bringing it back to the East Coast, right?
I think so. I think it was either New York or it was in Florida. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too far away from where you were going. It wasn't over the West Coast anyway. AEW are going to open up a crowd soon as well, which is fair. We were going to talk about our top Money in the Bank ladder matches, but that went off because we went into it. So we might cover that next week.
Yeah.
Some
Well,
news.
I got to say something about that, though, super quick. Not about that, but we're talking about the empty crowd. So this is very related to that. Right before this show started, the last thing I watched on YouTube was the top, I think it was like top 20 pops in WWE history. And that really hit home of, yeah, we're really missing that. That's one of the biggest things you look at. And some of the biggest pops we've ever had in history post 95 have been Money in the Bank cash in.
Oh, yeah. That's probably why they're going to wait until they have a crowd to cash in, because then there's no
I
point.
feel so bad. I feel so bad if they didn't.
I hope Drew, as you said, I hope Drew McIntyre holds onto that belt until there's a crowd, because that would suck. My entire run, there's nobody to help me celebrate. It's just pointless. And that match with Seth Rollins is one of the best matches you'll see, all year. Honest,
Not edited,
no,
live. That
honest
was
to God,
flawless. I
it,
didn't see a botch.
it was like butter. It was an amazing match, great little
Oh,
finish at the end and everything. And nobody saw it. Well, we all saw it, but nobody was there, So it's just like, oh, I hate Seth Rollins' new music. It's really irritating, and the fact they keep.
I love it.
Oh no, but the commentary.
I love it. I love the Jesus thing that they're doing with him. But I got to ask you a question about this while we have time, because it actually pertains to the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
What did you think about that handshake? For those that don't know, in case you got up to get a drink or go to the bathroom in between, Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is supposed to be the biggest daddy in the WWE, I guess next to Shayna right now. Shook hands. And they were like, good match.
Code of Honor.
What?
Yeah, they did the Ring of Honor Code of Honor thing.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Was that out of place? Does it not matter because screw it, everything else is so crazy? Like, what are your thoughts?
If it was planned, I think the story is that it was to show that, like, Seth Rollins' whole thing is that Drew McIntyre can't carry the company.
Right.
So I think it was kind of, well, look, I can, and good match, right? So it makes sense from a Drew McIntyre perspective. Like, Seth Rollins didn't come at it saying, I'm the best. He came at it saying, I believe I'm more worthy. So it wasn't
because we learned what happens when Seth Rollins says he's the best on Twitter. It doesn't go so well.
Yeah, it doesn't go so well. So I think that was the difference. If Seth Rollins' whole character was I'm the best, screw you, it wouldn't have made sense. But I think this kind of worked for me. It worked a lot better than the announced here keep calling him the Messiah, which is the dumbest nickname ever. All I can hear is not the blasphemy, but the Monty Python's thing. He's not the Messiah. He's just a very naughty boy. It's just like, listen, if all I can think is the Monty Python movie is Life of Brian is when it's not working. So please God, change that. That's terrible. Like, it's.
But what about in front of a crowd? Do you think it would work in front of a crowd? Because I think it would. They can't have him doing Burn It Down if he has this new character arc.
Yeah, but Burn It, like, I don't know. I don't think it works. I think they need to scale it back a bit. Like the religious-y music we've talked about on this show, WWE love to go there. They love their cult leaders, but in this specific way, it's just there's something missing, and that music, and the packaging doesn't work. Like,
I liked it.
Well, I know. Like, don't get me wrong. If he came out and he was like, I'm the Messiah of Monday Night, that makes sense. Chris Jericho's done that, blah blah blah, right? But
right.
Chris Jericho's had
awesome. Bailey did a thing where she called the fans sheep, and I said, "Oh, I thought of Jericho immediately."
Yeah, but Jericho's music was always good.
Yeah, well, true. Well, except for when he tried to use his own music.
But that's terrible. Yeah, don't even get me started on Fuzzy. I don't want to get banned again. Like when he always had like the Walls Jericho kind of thing playing in WWE throughout his run, and that kind of made sense. But the commentators never beat you over the head with it, and I feel like they're just beating you over the head with this gimmick over and over again. They're like, we get it, we understand his T-shirt. Yeah, I know. Just please stop call him anything else. Just call him Seth. Seth does this. Seth does that. Mr. Rollins. Tyler Black. Pick any name. Just. There's other names you can call him.
Just don't go back to your Ring of Honor outfit. That's all I ask of you, Seth. It was awful.
Yeah. His wrestling gear definitely got better.
Weird body and tights. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think he knows that. That's why he goes with the full body suit. But look, the match was good. The match was fantastic. Sorry, match was fantastic. Drew McIntyre is a really good champion.
It was a 5-star match in any other circumstance.
It's a clinic. It's a clinic. Like, Drew McIntyre's putting on the best of his career, and I would say if you haven't seen it, go your way to see it. You will not be disappointed. It's best match of the card, best match of the show, best match. Oh no, Dave. Best match of the show. It was
there wasn't Money in the Bank though.
No, from a match perspective.
From a pure wrestling with I know what you're saying, but you're not gonna hurt my heart here, Derek. I'm not going to let you.
No, it just is what it is. It's just a pure match perspective. So it is what it is. Right. So is there anything you want to add, Dave, before we wrap up this week?
I want to say that I announced that if this guy didn't win,
Oh, you're gonna be
I
sad.
was going to be a really, really grumpy podcaster. And you know what happened? The guy behind me won. And I am an enthusiastically over the moon podcaster because I love it. I just, what do we always talk about? What do we want? We want the guys that get over by themselves with a character that WWE isn't necessarily looking to push. Then WWE sees that and they give them an opportunity. And a time when everything is so strictly controlled, WWE has no audience that they have to listen to, no
Mm.
reactions they have to follow. They still gave in to the fact that his charisma and character has gotten him to this point. I love it. AJ, can we talk about your gloves? We need to get you some of that NFL stuff they put on there so that stuff sticks to it, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know why you dropped the case. Kind of
Yep.
silly. But Otis, man, you brought it home.
He did. And
Your
look,
mom's happy.
look, fair play to him. You know, it's one of those matches, one of those moves that I think, in hindsight, it was great. It was the best decision to make. I think it's the one that he needed, and he gives him the most growth. I think he can have a cool feud now with AJ Styles or with Daniel Bryan or anyone in that match, because it was a fluke. It really was, but it's still win. A win's a win. You know, it gave them direction, and with Otis building him up now as this character, I think you're going to have a main star very, very soon. You know, if this is handled
People love him.
correctly, people love him.
And
I was going through Twitter, and while people were kind of like on the fence about the match, they loved Otis. So it's just like, okay, you know, that's a good move from WWE. So fair play. Right now, they're doing everything right, and it's weird that they're doing everything right because the circumstances should be the opposite. But they have Otis holding the Money in the Bank. They have Drew McIntyre, who everybody loves as champion. Bray Wyatt's back. It looks like they're going to build Bray Wyatt back up to being what he was. Because the only reason why he lost that belt in the first time was to have it for Roman Reigns. But Roman Reigns isn't there, so he's going back to Bray Wyatt. So, you know, guys, look, if you hated it, this is what you want. This is the best you're going to get. So don't hate on too much. Yeah, exactly.
And Otis, just real succinctly right now, the theme of the match, it was at Titan Towers, which is obviously this multi-million-dollar facility. And Otis is the blue-collar worker. He climbed to the top of literally the corporate ladder. This is a throwback to the Attitude Era in terms of theme, and I thought they hit it on the head. Even though technically he didn't climb a ladder. And also, I love the fact that ladders were only used to climb for the belt in a ladder match, finally. There was one shot that Corbin did, but otherwise, finally.
The first
I've
time
been waiting for that for years.
For the first time, it was used for purpose rather than for everything else that you normally have.
Yes.
What I will say is some bit of sad news before we go. Actually, weird news and sad news. So we'll go with the sad news first and leave us on the weird one. So Alberto Del Rio is in jail. Looks like his career is over. Scumbag. So yeah, who's surprised? He got sexual assault.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah. If it's true, well, he's arrested for it. If it's true, well, he's never coming back to WWE. His mugshot is something to behold. Do check it out.
Don't worry, we got Humberto Colorito to carry us through.
I'm just like, well, man, you really are going downhill. So
I'm glad Paige got out of there.
Yeah, me too. Actually, Paige's stream from OSW, where she reviews their video on her, is hilarious. You should totally watch it. Paige, it seems like she's hilarious and she's really up for a joke, so fair play. And some weird news, right? So on this channel, I reported that looks like WWE is going to be sold, and it's not coming from me. This is coming from a rumor, not a rumor, from a tweet, whatever, from Dirty Dutch Mantel, right? Where he said, yeah, it's probably going to happen relatively soon. Yeah, that was my reaction too. It's like, if it's Dutch Mantel, there's probably something to this. He's not one to bullshit like that. Okay, and then we had Triple H sell a stock. We had Vince McMahon sell a stock. We had Triple H sell a stock, and then we have Stephanie sell her stock.
Oh, that she sold $1 million worth of stock like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, they all sold about $1 million worth of stock, which is very weird to do anyway.
They do that, though, to be fair, they do that periodically, and I do want to point out to people, I've been looking at the 6-month tracker, and this is the highest that WWE stock has been in quite some time. So if they are going to sell,
now's the time to do it. That's what I mean. And according to the report, May is the date that was given. to sell to Fox and Disney. So it could happen. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but if it does happen, I wouldn't be shocked. Some people have dismissed it, but I'm like, based on the tracking and movements that we have, it's definitely something to watch. So guys, don't be shocked if you see this happen in the next couple of weeks.
I would be shocked if it happened in the next couple of weeks, because I think that you need to have a certain amount of waiting period. The McMahons can't sell stock and then sell the company. That's insider trading. So there needs to be.
Yeah, but I would say
know.
there's a movement. There's stuff happening backstage that we are not privy to. But the fact that you have the three major figures behind this corporation are unloading stock, you're like, something's up, and we don't know what it is. So keep an eye on it, I would say.
Derek thinks they're being sold. I'm telling you guys, don't worry. They're going nowhere.
Fair. We will see. We will see.
We'll see.
Dave, is there anything you want to plug before we wrap it up?
Not at all, mate.
Okay. All right, guys. I will plug our network, which we have now. So go over to nerdtoknowmedia.com. All the shows been added pretty much daily. Keen has a show. Katie has a show. There's a conspiracy show. And obviously Stray Out Canto, the flagship Nerd to Know Media. And we'll be back next week to talk all things wrestling here on the Wrestling Rewind with myself and Dave Stevens. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.